Why would you ever think this is okay? Sucks to suck, sorry. And then I'm gonna end up in Irvine prison.
Oh shit.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and today we are back with another dun mukbang. Woo! Guys, after popular demand, after I begged you guys to leave it in the comments to request that I do this, so I guess I demanded this all by my lonesome, I have decided to finally officially do this series of what I would like to call the best chicken tender challenge. Okay, we're gonna find the best fried chicken. We're gonna find the best fried chicken tenders. And today we've got 4 contestants. We've got Carl's Jr. Spicy Crispy Chicken Tenders. We've got McDonald's Buttermilk Crispy Tenders. We've got 2 servings of Chick-fil-A tenders and Popeyes chicken tenders. Wow. And we've got a bunch of sauces down here. First, what do you think will win? I feel like we're gonna say Chick-fil-A. You think so too?
I'm gonna go for Popeye.
It does look like the crispiest. You know what? I'm gonna dip it in their mashed potatoes with their Cajun gravy. Mmm. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a gravy though.
This is good.
I know if it's a gravy though, you know?
Oh, it's spicy too.
Mm-hmm. Mmm.
Okay.
Okay, let's go for my OG Chick-fil-A, dipping it in Chick-fil-A sauce. How appropriate. You know, it's so different. This tastes like chicken.
Uh-huh.
The Popeyes one feels like 90% skin.
Mm-hmm.
90% chip.
Mm.
This is like chicken.
This is like their traditional chicken, right?
Like if you were to make chicken at home, this is kind of what it would taste like.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try the
What do you go for?
McDonald's. I still like the Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A? Mm-hmm. So you switch to Chick-fil-A now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Uh-uh.
McDonald?
Mm-mm.
McDonald?
Mm-hmm.
McDonald?
Mm-hmm.
Are you serious?
No, I don't like it.
Oh, you don't like it?
Mm.
Oh.
Mm.
How come I didn't even know McDonald's do chicken strips?
I guess not well, apparently, that's why. Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know they have that.
Oh, it's so weird. I actually did a Jack in the Box chicken crispy chip thing. I don't know what it's called, okay? I went to an event, and their chicken strips were actually really good. Like, they were asking me to take pictures with the chicken strips, and I kept eating it, and they were like, listen, please take pictures with it. Don't eat them right now. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I can't. Let's see if the Carl's Jr. stacks up.
Wow, the Chick-fil-A is good.
Okay, I have my ranking. Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, Carl's Jr., McDonald's. It's just different. Like, this is, look at how thin it is. Look at how barely any chicken there is. But it's so good. It's just like, if you're craving some protein, this is not it, sis. Like, if you're craving some potato chips that are a little bit thick, it thickens some, this is it, you know? But, like, look at how thin this is.
Okay. So Chick-fil-A won?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will say this. Other than Popeyes, is it really fair to compare a chicken joint to people who specialize in burgers? Is it fair? You guys leave it in the comments. Would it be more fair if we did like Popeyes, KFC, Raising Cane's, and Chick-fil-A? Because they're all chicken places. But then like these people, I feel like they just put out chicken strips because people want chicken strips, but they're like, we still care about the Big Mac more, you know? Obviously.
Then why did you choose this joint?
I really wanted to eat McDonald's. Today's story is about to be just as good, just as crazy. Now, this is the type of story that I need you to sit and relax for 5 minutes. Relax, okay? For like 5 minutes. Because it's the type of story where the minute that I jump into it, you're like, I know where this is going, you know? Stephanie, we get it. We've heard stories like this before. But you really don't, okay? Like, I'm just gonna say it out there. Your mama don't know. Your dad don't know. You don't know. Like, this is one of those stories where I thought I knew where everything was going, and then it just keeps slapping you across the face, and you just keep getting more and more confused, and it is just the most petty thing you will ever hear. I mean, I talk about true crime. That's scary. That's evil. That's pure, just disgusting, right? But this is probably the pettiest thing I've ever heard. What makes them so different? I'm so confused.
Mickey D.
What is the pettiest thing you guys have done? What?
Not bad.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is the worst.
It's okay.
I love chips. So, this all takes place in the great city of Irvine, California, Orange County. Bits.
We've been talking a lot of California, Irvine, OC crimes.
Yeah, apparently, I don't know if it's like the uniformity of Orange County or if it's like the fact that nothing is open late or it's the fact that like there's a lot of soccer moms over there, but it gets wild over there. Apparently, okay, we considered moving to Orange County very, very briefly because we were like, you know what, maybe one day we want to have kids, maybe we want to settle down, you know, obviously rent is cheaper there, you know, maybe we can get a house over there, and we were so excited, and then I went over there.
What?
It's just not me. So the way that Irvine was created, it's actually one of their top safest cities in the entire United States. And the way that it was created is it's a master plan city.
Why do I feel like every state says that? Like every city in California says that. Like Beverly Hills says that, Irvine says that, Calabasas says that.
Beverly Hills is the safest inside of Los Angeles County. Calabasas is not located inside of Los Angeles County.
I feel like everybody has a saying. Like, this is the safest in this zip code, you know?
That's how people get you to buy their houses.
Yes. I mean,
How else can you justify the high houses for here, you know?
Irvine's the safest in the U.S. Okay.
Because of these reasons, and this becomes pertinent to the story. Hold on a second, okay? Irvine has a curfew.
Curfew.
They have their own police department, which a lot of cities do, like smaller cities, like Beverly Hills has their own police department, right? They have their own police department. It's a master planned city. So what that means is when people came in to buy the land that Irvine is now sitting on top of, the way that they planned it was they planned out everything. Every zone. This is going to be a strip mall. This is going to be a Starbucks. This is going to be a drive-through McDonald's. This is going to be a neighborhood. They're all gated. All the neighborhoods are pretty much gated and guarded. So what they really care about is uniformity and safety. So that's why if you drive into Irvine, all the houses look the same. Because they're crazy about uniformity. Like they want, like it's a master plan city. I don't know how to describe
that.
it. It's the fact that like if you were to go to any other city in Los Angeles or even Orange County, like the houses look different. The houses are spaced out, you know. There's kind of like a weird characteristic towards the city. It's like the vibe is different everywhere. But Irvine is like all the houses looks very similar. They're very like uniformly put out. Like the landscaping is uniform. It's supposed to look like your kind of creepy dystopian but like super safe city. So like the way that they did it is like when they even planned out like how the neighborhoods are shaped, like where they put things like plazas, malls. They care so much about earth tones. If you go into Irvine, all the houses are like this color. It's all about earth tones over there. It's wild. I mean, I loved my small short time being there.
I don't know. That sounds kind of
But people go not for that, but because it's so safe. You know?
okay.
I mean, the police department, they're on top of it. They have curfews. If you have a high school kid and they're out sneaking around at 12 in the friggin' midnight, the police gonna catch them. And they're gonna bring them back to you.
Okay.
Nothing's open late. It's generally a nice area, no tea, no shade. It's just when it comes to the aspect of living in one of those uniform houses, it's just a choice, you know? It's a preference.
Interesting.
Also, did you know there's no liquor stores, pawn shops, or homeless shelters in the city of Irvine?
No liquor store?
Yeah. I mean, you could go to like Whole Foods and buy wine, but there's no like liquor store. You know how like there's like Bevmos everywhere? Yeah, they don't have that in Irvine.
That's so weird.
They've completely purged the city of liquor stores, homeless shelters, and pawn shops.
This city sounds scary.
Yeah. Like, we were thinking about, like, okay, maybe one day we'll buy a house in Irvine, right? Mm-hmm. The only reason I don't want to is I feel like they're going to be crazy. Like, I feel like I'm going to try to build a tree house for my freaking kids, and they're going to be like, no, listen, we're going to bow down your tree unless you take it down now. We're going to sue you, and then I'm going to end up in Irvine prison with, like, the mom who, like, bought wine too late, you know, in the middle of the night. And I'll be like, wow, how did I get here? Now, Kelly Peters moved to Irvine, and she doesn't look like your stereotypical Irvine mom. I know Orange County has really that, like, huge stereotype of, like, everybody's plastic, everybody's the same, everybody's orange housewives or whatever. Not orange housewives.
A what?
Housewives of Orange County. I said they're orange housewives. There is that stigma around Orange County. If you watch Housewives of Orange County, like, everything looks very similar. Like, their houses look similar, their cars are similar, their faces are similar, you know, it's like they all went to the same doctor.
Your husband looks similar.
It's the same husband. Oh I'm just kidding. We're talking about a different show. Even say in the vlogs that I want to move to Orange County, like randomly I'll have these like moments where I'm like, damn, I want to be a suburban like lady, right? All the comments are like, I live in Orange County. Don't come here. It's horrendous.
Seriously?
I think it's really just where you go for safety. Other parts of Orange County I heard are amazing. I mean, Irvine is amazing. It's just, you have to pay the price for safety, you know? And so Kelly Peters, that's why she moved to Irvine. And like, to be honest with you, when you look at a picture of her, I'm going to insert one right here. She does not look like the type of woman that would fit in Irvine. She loves wearing like these long, she has this short blonde hair. She loves wearing like these long sundresses, flip-flops. Like, she's a very free spirit type of gal. And the reason that she moved to Irvine was she was having difficulty getting pregnant with her husband. And finally, when she did get pregnant, I think like her maternal instincts kicked in like double time. And so all she really cared about was stability and safety for her child, right? And she was just, I think she was also in that moment, like the mentality of like, oh shit, like I don't want anything to happen. And so they ended up moving to Irvine, moving into an apartment. And the reason like I'm saying moving into an apartment is very crucial because Irvine has a hidden class system apparently. I didn't know this until I read up on it. It's like what I was talking about Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach doesn't like people from Laguna Niguel, and they also don't like people from San Juan Capistrano, okay? But Irvine has this class system that if you're a renter, you're automatically below the homeowners. It's like a hierarchy. So even if you rent the most expensive mansion in Irvine,
seriously,
if you don't own it, you're not Irvine.
So how would people know that?
Just they ask.
What do they ask?
I mean, obviously, if you live in like a major apartment complex that they know is not a condo, you know, then first of all, that's that.
What do you mean? There's also like you take your kids to school and the other soccer moms say, hey, where do you live? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And be like, and then you're like, oh, I'm just living in this building. They're like, okay, cool. Mm-hmm.
Or if you like say a house, they're probably like, oh, when did you buy the house? When did you close on the house? Did you just move in?
That is so bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what all the articles are saying. Yeah.
That is really sad.
Yeah, it's like your relation to the real estate that you live in is very crucial in Irvine. You can't be a renter.
That sounds worse than LA.
Yeah. Kelly Peters, she couldn't afford big houses in Irvine. Like I said, she just wanted safety and stability. She really doesn't want to be part of that hierarchy of Irvine. She doesn't want to climb the social ladder and become on that TV show. Like, she really doesn't care. She just wants everything for her kid. And at this point, she actually had a really good paying job. And she was like, I think she was like a mortgage broker or something in that business. It was very cutthroat. And once she had her kid, she was like, I can't, like, I'm miserable and I feel like I'm not giving my kid enough attention. And so that's when they decided that only her husband would be working. She quit her job and she spent that time honestly becoming so immersed in the Irvine public school. So there's this school called Playa Vista School in Irvine. It's one of the most amazing schools ever apparently. And she started being a PTA mom there. She had even a desk in the front office. She did everything there. Like, she absolutely loved it. She said, you know what, it is so hard to be around kids, but I love them so much, and I love that I'm like involved in my like child's school. Like, it's so fulfilling, and her kid was doing well in school. Everything was going great. Now, to give you perspective like of how good of a person she is, she's the type where in Irvine, apparently this school has a system where if you are like late to pick up your kid, because you know how sometimes like parents don't care that the school has to wait for them, you know, they're like, what's closing time? I don't know, right? So they charge you $1 per minute that you're late.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so Cutthroat.
It's so cutthroat.
That's like,
And then like you just see all the Koreans up front like, I'm never late. Just waiting. You better hop in, boo. You better run quickly. Come on, get in the car. That's like me.
Damn.
Me as a mom. I'm like waiting. I don't even leave the school. I drop off the kid and I just wait there. I'm like, I'm not getting charged. Well, it depends on the school.
so if I'm 2 hours late, that's $120.
That's $60 an hour.
Yeah, that's $120.
But also, if you're 2 hours late, you really have to reevaluate your parenting skills.
No, I'm just saying if I'm busy, you know. So I treat it as like daycare.
No, I don't think you should do that. No. Suddenly, I'm like really questioning our future children. Yeah, but she was so sweet, and she loved spending time with the kids that she couldn't even bring it to her to like charge the moms.
Okay.
She just felt like it was kind of like cheap. Like, I enjoyed my time with your kid. I don't want to be like, well, pay me for the time, you know?
Yeah, makes sense. School's like, we're losing money this month.
No, Kelly, come on. We gotta keep the lights on, okay? Keep charging the moms. You know what's crazy? Like, how much would you donate to your kid's school? Guys, I know this is so off topic, but leave it in the comments because I was also reading other articles about how a lot of these like Orange County public schools even or private schools even that have like these charity events will they invite all the parents out, and some of these parents will just drop like 20-30 grand that night.
But again, it's like you're doing it to impress others, I'm sure. Like this charity event with parents. Can you imagine? Parents versus parents? That's such a
Cutthroat.
From what you're telling me?
Yeah.
If they're comparing if you're a renter or a homeowner, gosh, like if I go there, I'm just gonna sit in the back and roll my eyes, or like cheering them on. Go, Sally, go. Sally, did you see that?
You're such a troll.
Oh, Sally.
You gonna let them outbid you like that? Man, Sally, thought you were rich.
You're gonna let her son be you in class and her husband be you in donation.
Oh, Sally. People love her. Like, the moms love her. The school district loves her. The kids love her. So she embraces artistic children. And so she loves, like, going to art classes and, like, just encouraging kids to get creative. And, like, that's just where she finds the most passion. And so the kids love her more than all the other PTA moms because all the other PTA moms are like, you know, go to basketball practice and do your math homework. And she's like, ooh, what are you drawing over there? You know, it just seems like a different type of vibe that they're not used to. And so everybody loves her. Now, explain to me why one day, all of a sudden, she gets called out from the PTA front office by an Irvine Police Department officer and says, hi, are you Kelly Peters? And she says, yes, I am. And he goes, is that your PT Cruiser in the front? And she goes, yes, that is. And he goes, I need to search your car.
What's PT Cruiser? Like a
It's a type of car? No, it's a type of car.
Oh, I thought you said PTA, PT Cruiser.
No, it's like a PTA car.
Yeah.
Repping that PTA on the side.
It was like a little
PTA, open up! And so then the police officer is like, I need to search your car. And so at first Kelly is like, what's going on? Like, is there something wrong? And he's like, well, we just got a call that, you know, you're driving recklessly. We just need to search your car real quick. And Kelly, knowing that, like, she didn't drive recklessly, it must be a mix-up. You know, she has nothing in her car. They might find some dog hair, some beach sand, you know, some coloring books. What else are they going to find? She's like, oh, okay. Right? She gives him the keys, and immediately he opens the passenger side door and he says, hey, what's this hiding under your passenger seat? And she goes, what do you mean? Is it like a surfboard? Like, what surfboard? What is it, right? And he goes, it's a Ziploc bag filled with drugs. What? And so she's like, oh my God, what? And she starts freaking out in the middle of the school parking lot. Now, at this point, other like people of the faculty, they were coming out. They were trying to see what the problem was, because to have an Irvine Police Department officer come out in the middle of the school day is kind of alarming, right? Especially in a town like Irvine. And so they're all coming out and they're all like, what's wrong, Kelly? And she's like, please, no, it's not mine. You don't understand. It's not mine. I swear it's not mine. She was literally on her knees on the cement parking lot, like, please, no, right? And he had parked his car next to her car, and he had put all of the substances on on his hood, because that's what they do when they arrest people, is they put it all up and like they show them like, hey, I found this many of that, this many of that, this many of that. And she's like, please, they're not mine. I've been framed. Please, they're not mine. And then she goes, can you just please take them off the hood? I don't want any of the kids to see. I don't want my daughter to see. Like, please don't arrest me. Like, I'll follow you to the police station. Please. Like, I just don't want anyone to know that like I got taken away in handcuffs for something I didn't do. And she keeps begging and begging and begging. Now at this point, it was kind of causing a scene. Like, the kids weren't out of school yet or anything, but all of the faculty were coming out and they're like, what's wrong, Kelly? And also, it's like one of those instances where it's not unbelievable. It's to the point where it's like, oh wow, PTA mom cracked. She's living in her marbles. And then also in a city like Irvine, it's kind of like, you could see it, you know. It's not like she had, you know, just like a tattoo parlor, like something out of place, like something like very LA. It was like very like, yeah, I'm sure some moms out there mix their wine with other things, you know. And so then the police officer, thank God, like everything lined up so perfectly, because he was a veteran police officer. Not only did he work with the police department, but I think he was in the Navy at one point or something. And so he's not a rookie, he's not new, and he had a lot of care for his job. And so he says, okay, why don't you take me to one of the conference rooms in the front office, and I just need to ask you a couple questions about where you got these. And she's like, absolutely, please, please. And she's in there and she's bawling, she's crying, like you can't even understand her. And so at first he's like thinking, well, everybody that I catch doing illegal things, they always deny it, right? Especially if you're a PTA mom. And so he's like, but I need to look into it. And so he asked, what time did you get to the school? And she says, I got here at 12:40. And he goes, interesting, because I got a call at 1:30 from a man who says that they have a daughter going to the school and that they saw you driving recklessly, and they saw that you were also, you know, smoking drugs while you were driving into the school parking lot, and they were just nervous that you're around the kids. And she was like, well, I got here at 12:40. And then the guy was like, the police officer was like, that's weird. If you were a concerned parent and you saw someone, like if I were a concerned parent and I saw someone drive up into the school parking lot recklessly, I wouldn't wait like an hour to call the police. I would call immediately. So he thought that was the first red flag, right? Now the second red flag is just she doesn't seem like the type, you know? And so, yeah, you could say it was like a hidden thing, but like also the way that it was placed, it was like right there. You could see it through the window. Yeah. So it's like, that's just weird. Like, why would she do that? She's not stupid. Usually people put it in the glove compartment, the trunk, under their seat all the way, you know? It's just a very weird placement. And so then she's like, no, please, I always leave my car unlocked. And so he performs some tests on her to see if she's under the influence currently, because the phone call that they got into the police line was saying like she was under the influence driving recklessly. She passed all the tests.
So who's trying to frame her?
Now, something that you have to realize is these were in a Ziploc bag, little Ziploc baggies that said easy dose or something on it. So it wasn't just a clear one. It wasn't like a regular Ziploc baggie. They had writing on them from a company, okay? Easy dose. And he goes, okay, you know what? So people who have these things in their car, they also usually have them at home. So do you mind if I go and search your entire home? And if we find something, you're coming straight to the police station and we are arresting you at the spot. And she's like, yes, absolutely. Like, I don't think I leave my house unlocked. I mean, she lives in an apartment complex and she's a little bit nervous because if someone could plant these in her car, they could have easily planted it in her house, right? And so he goes over to their house, he searches the entire place, and he doesn't find anything. Not even in a different Ziploc, nothing, right? So the police at this point, they're a little bit intrigued by this situation, okay? Also, when they tried to give the callback number to the person who gave the tip to the police station, it was a fake number. They couldn't reach anybody. And so they're like, obviously something weird is going on. And when they did talk to all the other faculty members of the school, other PTA moms, everybody spoke so highly of Kelly. Usually what happens is like, you know, you'll have police officers talking to Kelly and then people will suddenly switch their narrative a little bit to be like, you know, I did notice some things that were weird when normally they wouldn't, but it's because like those seeds have been planted in their head. But like that didn't happen at all. Like the Irvine police were saying, like everybody was like, no, I mean, I don't think it's Kelly's. There's just no way. And they're like, Kelly, do you have any enemies? I mean, you're a PTA mom, really? Do you have enemies? And so she goes, I actually have very powerful enemies. And then the police are like, what? And then she goes, I think they're one of the most powerful people at the school.
At the school?
Yeah. And the police are like, what? And then she goes, it's a couple. They're called the Easters. That's their last name, Jill and Ken Easter. and they live in this really big house in Irvine. They have a 6-year-old son who goes to this school, and they're both attorneys. They both graduated from Stanford. One of them went to UCLA Law. The other one went to Berkeley, and they married. And, you know, now Jill is a stay-at-home mom. And, you know, Ken is like one of the top Orange County attorneys. He works for one of the top firms. He makes almost $500,000 a year. He works in Newport Beach at one of like the most well-renowned law firms, you know. And she said, they hate me. And they're like, why would they hate you? It doesn't make sense. And so she goes, well, one day last year, they tried to get me kicked out of the PTA school board.
Okay.
And then she goes, they also tried to sue me and get a restraining order on me.
Why?
So.
Because she lived in an apartment?
No.
Oh.
They're like, why would they try to run you out of the school last year? And so she goes, well, here's the problem. So every Wednesday we have this program called ACE, where we teach the kids different things. And that day was tennis. And so we had a bunch of male tennis coaches. Male is very pertinent, okay? Male tennis coaches come to the back, and like the tennis courts, the school has got a lot of tennis courts, okay? And so they're like, yeah, we had tennis courts in the back. And so all the kids were in the back with the trainers, with the coaches. And so then she was saying, so then we rounded up all the kids when it was time for pickup because school got out a little bit later. And so we had to pretty much take the back door, walk them through the building of the school to the front. So that was the easiest way instead of going around the perimeter of the building, right? And so what had happened was she did a head count, but for some reason, somehow it slipped, and Jill Easter's son was left in the back for about 5 minutes at the back door, where he was knocking on the door before a coach saw him, because a coach was cleaning up the tennis balls, and a coach realized, oh, there's a kid in the back door. But it's not crazy in the fact that, like, it's not like they took a field trip. Like, they were still on, like, highly CCTV'd school grounds in Irvine, where there's really not a lot of crime, and, like, the back door has CCTV, and there was coaches out there. It's not like everybody just left and, like, drove away in their cars, and he was out there for, like, 5 minutes. Now, at this point, Jill Easter had been waiting for her son for about 5 minutes now, and everybody else had their kids in the car. And so she goes up to Kelly and she's like, where's my son? Where's my son? What have you done with my son? Which is just a very aggressive way to start a conversation. And so then Kelly is like, oh, let me go check. And so a coach walks out with her son. And her son looks a little bit distraught. Like I said, he was outside for 5 minutes. I'm not, like, getting mad at him, okay? He's freaking 6 years old. He can cry if he wants. It's all about the parent right now, okay? And so he looks a little bit distraught. He doesn't have marks on him. He's not hurt or anything. And so then the coach gives him to Kelly, and Kelly gives him to Jill. And Jill is like, what happened to you? What happened? And the son was like, I was outside in the back for, like, 5 minutes. Okay, he probably didn't say that. He was like, for, like, 23 years. So then Jill was getting so mad at Kelly. Like, how dare you forget my son? She was like, how is this okay? This is disgusting. I do not donate to this school for you to leave my kid out in the back. You know, she was like doing all of that. This school is known for parents whose kids fail out of math in elementary school, and they'll get the math teacher fired. Like, they will. Because they donate so much to the public school system and to Irvine, and they're big people in Irvine. So it's like, you know, what is Irvine going to do?
That's why
like,
our kids is going to go to China, I'm telling you.
She's dealing with this mom, and Jill is like the epitome of that mom, okay? And during this entire time, Kelly said the creepiest thing is that she kept this really creepy, like, Botoxy smile on the entire time. I don't know if it's because she can't smile anymore or not smile anymore, but, like, Kelly was like, the scariest part is, like, she didn't raise her voice. She wasn't yelling. She was being very rude, but it was like, why would you ever think this is okay?
Oh my God.
Which is worse. I'd rather you be like, this is not okay, you know, then I'd be like, I know, I'm sorry, you know, but if you're like, this is not okay, then I'm like, oh my God, you're so creepy, you're gonna kill me in my sleep, right? And so Kelly is like nervous, and she's like, I'm so sorry, and like Kelly, she went into a little bit of an explanation mode, and so the way that she was trying to explain things in the heat of the moment was trying to be like, you know, like, your son, like, she spends a lot of time with Jill's son, right? And so she's like, you know, your son really likes to take his time, you know, he's a little bit more creative, you know, like, and so all of these things led Jill to believe that Kelly was trying to insinuate that Jill's son is mentally incapable and mentally slow. And so she gets super mad, and for some reason she keeps saying, like, you know, the coach brought him out. I bet the coach was touching him. It was so weird, right? Kelly was like, what are you saying? Like, what?
Wait, the mom say that?
Yeah. And then Kelly was like, no. Like, we know our coach is No, you know? And then she was like, you let that happen on your watch, you know? Like, look at him. He's so traumatized. You know, he's going to be traumatized for the rest of his life. And I'm not saying things like that don't happen, but it was just the entire situation was weird. You had no proof. And so then Kelly was like, I'm sorry, it's not like that. And so then Jill goes home. The next morning, the school has to deal with a mountain of horrendous drama. Jill is calling the school demanding Kelly be put off the board. She be taken off PTA. She be no longer around the kids. The coach needs to be fired. She's threatening to sue the school board, and the city of Irvine. She's like threatening to sue everybody that's like breathing and walking in the town. Like because
her husband is the partner at the
and because her kid was left out for 5 minutes, and so she's like so disgustingly rude. Oh, and my son is also getting good grades. He's not slow. What is wrong with her? Blah blah blah. I mean, she is going in on these emails, and the school board is like, sucks to suck, sorry, right?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and now they're like, okay, we are going to implement a rule where we make sure to do a double head count, but I mean, at this point, we can't really do anything. You have no proof that Kelly said any of these things, and also Kelly spends a lot of time with your kid. Like, she loves him, you know?
Yeah, and everybody loves Kelly.
Mm-hmm. And so Jill went around to all of the other moms, like, trying to get her voted off the PTA, trying to get all the other moms to say something, because if enough people say something, they probably would take Kelly down, you know?
She has way too much time on her hand.
She's like at Soul Cycle, like so angry, like talking to the moms in there. Like, can you believe it? Like sweating. We're so mean. So she's so pissed. She's trying to get her husband involved. She sends her like husband emails while he's at work, like clocking in freaking like 60 to 80 hours a week. She's like, what? We can't let someone abuse our kid like this, blah, blah, blah. Like she's honestly so insane. Like I don't even know how to describe it, right? She's
not in jail right now.
She's not in jail. Yeah, but she's insane. What is she gonna do? Sue me? Right?
Yeah.
It's okay. They have no money right now. Yeah, anymore.
What?
It's a long story.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, let's get into it. Like, that happens. She's, like, throwing a fit. Nothing happens. And on top of that, not only does nothing happen, Kelly gets voted to be the president of the PTA that year. Oh, so shit. It was, like, a double whammy in the face. You know, it was like, we're not going to do shit. But also, she's promoted, you know? So she's super pissed. So her and her husband are like, man, at this school, we're not donating no more, blah, 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 blah. But at this point, because the school wasn't doing anything, Jill and Kent, the Easters, decide to call the police and to file a police report, and the Irvine Police Department is like, I'm sorry, there was no crime that was committed, so we really can't file a police report for this. Like, your kid was locked out for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, that's not a crime, right? And so then they decided to go to a judge, right? Because they have judge friends, right? And file a restraining order. When they went to go file the restraining order, it got denied because it's like, I don't understand, right? And then they went ahead and they tried to sue her in civil court for emotional and mental trauma to their child for leaving him out for 5 minutes.
Is the husband on board to all of this?
Yeah, and it got thrown out because it's like, okay, you're honestly losing your marbles, right? Like, this is like the epitome of the couple that literally goes to like Walmart and they slip a tiny bit. They don't even slip and fall. Like, they're walking like this and their foot goes like this a little bit, and then they catch it and they're like breathing hard because like, I almost slipped, and then they're like, my attorneys will be reaching out to you, you know? And then you're like, okay, reach out to me, bro, reach it. At this point, the police are like, but would it really be them? I mean, they're two attorneys. They have, I mean, no offense, but they have tons of money. They're like really living their best life. Would they really just like care that much about Kelly, right? Like, maybe they were a little bit mad, but like, do they really care about you? Like, this is a year later we're talking about. And so then she's like, no, I swear, like, they gotta be the only ones. And like, Kelly even, or the lady even told me, the mom even told me, you know, I'm gonna get you. Like, she literally said those words, like, I will get you. Oh, she probably said it like this, I will get you. And so then Kelly was like, it has to be them. And so they were like, okay, let's trace the calls. The police department, they traced the calls, and it came from a very, very fancy Newport Beach hotel, 1 block away from what? His office is in Newport Beach, the law firm. And they go through the CCTV footage. It was made from the hotel phone, and they see a long, slinky-looking guy coming in a suit, and is none other than Kent Easter. And so they go, okay, obviously he put in the phone call, right? So they start investigating, do a little bit more digging. They see that their cell phones were being pinged from her apartment complex, right? Why were they in her apartment complex the night before?
Wait, they snuck into her house?
into her car. Because she leaves her car
apartment
unlocked.
complex. Gotcha.
Yeah. And they slipped it in. So her apartment complex doesn't have a guard. It has a gate. So they just waited for someone to go in, and then they followed afterwards. Apparently, that's why you need a guard in Irvine.
Wow, they're
so
so
that PTA
petty.
moms don't go wild. Yeah, wild and out, right? And so they see that also on their phone stuff, they can kind of search the phone records because the judge warranted them without telling them. And they realized that during the time that one of their phones was pinging from the apartment complex that Kelly lives in, they also exchanged a bunch of text messages. And they were like, we think that this is enough to search their places. So they had 24 Irvine Police Department police officers, which are a lot of police officers for something like this, but like go off, sis, right?
Wait, what happened?
They had 24.
24 policemen?
Yeah.
Go where?
So 12 of them went to Newport Beach to the law office, and then 12 of them went to the house, the couple's
Jesus.
home, and they searched the entire place. Now, inside the couple's home, they did find some prescription drugs. Now, inside of the law firm, what they found was inside of his car, they found prescription drugs, which he said he had a prescription to. But here's the key. Here's the catch. It was in a Ziploc baggie that said easy dose.
Okay.
The same one that was found in her
Okay.
car. It's not a common thing. It's not sold at Target. It's not sold on Amazon. It's not sold at Walmart. It's not a thing that everybody in fucking Newport Beach or Irvine has. So they're like, okay, obviously he did something, and we know that his cell phones were pinging. We just have to run the DNA on the things. The DNA came up that all of the drugs had Kent's fingerprints on them, DNA, and only half of them had the wife's fingerprints, right? So they
Okay.
were like, I mean, at this point, it's pretty much slam dunk, okay?
Yeah.
So they arrest the both of them. It becomes an absolute shit show. But what's even crazier is the fact that when they went to the couple's home, they had actually caught her in the middle of an affair with a firefighter from the LA Fire Department.
Shut the
Yeah,
front door.
because he was at work and she was in the middle of an affair with the fire department person.
This is gotta be the
With
biggest
the firefighter.
Oh my.
Which he then later decided to team up with the Irvine Police Department and wear a wire. He ended up like getting wired up because the Irvine Police Department convinced him, and so he wore a wire. And the next time he talked to her, and then she ended up breaking up with him because he like wasn't helping her, and then it's just like weird stuff. So they both get arrested, and now at this point, this is a massive felony to plant drugs. Like you will lose your law license. You will never be able to practice law, and that means your income will die. Like you won't be able to work, you know? And so they're both facing criminal charges, and at this point, they tried to file like a motion so that they could be charged separately, meaning that Jill gets charged and then Kent gets charged. And the reason that they wanted to do this is because Jill wanted to take the hit because she doesn't work. She can lose her law license. And also she probably like she hired the best attorney in Orange County for criminal defense, right? So that means like the judge, like this attorney is so expensive that the judges use them when the judges get in trouble. That's how good this attorney is. And so
Okay.
she had just the biggest hope. Like, first of all, I'm not going to jail, right? I'll probably get something on my record. I'll probably get probation. I'll probably lose my law license that I haven't practiced in years because I'm a house mom, no shade, right? And so she's like, whatever, she's trying to take the hit. Whereas if he loses his law license, they lose all of their income. That's $500,000 a year. And so they're like, he can't go to jail. But they tried to do that. It didn't work. Because the judge was like, we know what you're trying to do, you know? So then they got it charged together, and then it just got really, really weird. He ended up getting a little bit of jail time. Honestly, that's not even besides the point. This is where it gets nuts. When they got arrested, so they weren't arrested immediately after their search warrant. Apparently, I didn't know rich people could do this, but apparently if you have a really good attorney who's like really powerful, you can actually get them to get the police department to tell you when you're getting arrested. What happens is the police department will go to your attorney and say, hey, we're gonna arrest your client, and then you go, okay, the client's gonna come into this jail station at 3 p.m. You're gonna book them. How much is the bail? Okay, we'll pay the bail right now. And so what that means is if you're a normal person who can't afford these top lawyers, then what happens to you is that you get arrested wherever you are. Okay, you could be in front of your kids, you could be in front of your Soul Cycle friends, you know, anywhere. You get arrested, put in handcuffs, put in the patrol car, you get taken to the station, you have to wait. Then they tell you, hey, your bail is $20,000. Then you gotta call people to get the bank to transfer the $20,000 or your friend to transfer the $20,000. $20,000 and you're sitting and booking for a long ass time. But if you're rich, what happens is you pretty much make an appointment. You're like, okay, so my client will be in at 3 o'clock. How much is the bail? We'll pay that now. So once you go in, you get fingerprinted and then you're out because your bail is already paid.
Holy cow.
You don't ever get handcuffed. No public humiliation. None of that. All because what? You're rich. So that's kind of like the setup that they had. But the police department went out of their way to not put it in public record, the arrest warrants. And they wanted to surprise arrest them. And they put them in booking for a long ass time on purpose, which I think was so comical. Like, good for you, Irvine Police Department, right?
Wait, so they just ignored all of that?
Yeah, they were like, nah, fuck it.
Screw it.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, we didn't know. Yeah.
They're trolls too.
They're such trolls. And the fact that they got like 24 police officers, like, literally has me dead, okay? But also, like, maybe there's just not a lot going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it either, like, not enough going on, or they're just like, let's go, like, make a scene?
So they get arrested, they get booked for a long ass time. And so essentially what ends up happening is that they get tried, and Jill ends up leaving. Like, she doesn't really get any jail time. I think she gets probation because her DNA wasn't on all of them. And also, he has a lot more power. The husband had a lot more power, and she was just kind of like the driving force. So, like, they even pulled up emails that she sent to his work email while he was working, okay? And this is so crazy to me because, like, when you worked at an office, like an actual location, I never emailed you on your work email, first of all, and I never contacted you about stuff unless it was like emergencies, right? Unless it was like casual texting, like, oh, did you eat lunch, you know? But, like, she would literally email him to his work email, and the subject was, why? And then at the bottom in all caps with 68 exclamation points, it said, why are we letting this nobody abuse our son? Why?
Oh my god.
Like, that email makes me want to punch myself in the face. She's honestly
else.
disgusting. I have no other word. Like, the crazy thing is, like, everyone was saying if they had called, this was all just perfect timing for Kelly, because Kelly got at school early. They called 30 minutes late because he had to drive all the way to Newport or whatever, right? And on top of that, if they had a rookie police officer, he wouldn't have investigated. He would have just arrested her and not investigated. That's it. That's your drugs. It's in your car. What else can we do, bro? Like, you're lying. And then the third, like, her name, her reputation, everything would have been ruined. Yeah. And then the third thing is, what if the Irvine Police Department didn't take a chance on her? Like, that's it. Again, you're still ruined, right? Like, because of all of this was happening, her daughter, her, like, elementary school daughter, was so terrified that they were going to take mommy away.
Who, Kelly's daughter?
Yeah, because they were like, at any point, like, you know, she's always talking to the police. She's scared. People were saying, like, Kelly was balding in certain spots because this was a long process, and she just felt like at any moment they could be, like, bought out by the Easters or something. Like, you don't know. Like, especially when you're dealing with, like, powerful attorneys of the city, and then you're, like, you know, not a powerful attorney, you're kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do, right? And so they used all of that in trial. She testifies, and she's, like, on the brink of tears constantly, and it's just so moving. And so they decide that they're both disbarred, right? So they both can't practice law for, like, I think, like, 5 years. What? Yeah, and there's a felony on their record, and he has to serve, I think, like, not a lot of time in jail. I think it was, like, less than a year or something. The crazy thing is, he can't work. So that means their income is gone automatically.
So
he was fired from his job.
5 years.
Yeah, but they don't really have a savings because, like, welcome to Irvine, right?
Seriously?
Your net worth's in your house and your car, right? And the crazy thing is, he later told investigators that when he went home that night, because the judge gave him a day. So typically, like, this is even crazy. Typically, if you were in, like, LA County, like, if you were in Los Angeles, downtown, they wouldn't give you that day. You would be sent to jail the day that the jury says you're guilty. But the reason they gave him the day was like, okay, you're the bread maker. Go and show your wife how to pay bills, you know? You can't just leave your kid and your wife in a house where the lights are gonna shut off. So show her all the accounts you have, where to get the money. I don't know, boo. Like, do your thing for a day, right? And so he went home for a day, and he told investigators that his wife kept suggesting to him to off himself because he had a $500,000 life insurance policy.
Are you shitting me?
Could you imagine? Then he goes to jail, and now this is when Kelly comes in. So obviously, when something like this is committed, you always have to go through the criminal side, and then you go through the civil side, meaning that they charge you criminally, and then you can sue. So now it's up to Kelly's discretion if she wants to sue them for the years of emotional trauma. This case took years, right? For, you know, all the reputation loss, for the stress. She's literally losing her hair over this, like all of that. You know, she can sue them now, and it's good because, you know, they do have some money, right? So then she sues them for, like, the judge, the court awarded them, oh my god, they went to civil court, and the jury said $5.2 million in restitution.
Whoa.
Because how evil is this?
Yeah.
Like, the main reason, like, a lot of the times you could literally honestly hurt somebody physically a lot and not get $5.2 million in restitution. But multiple reasons why that they gave such a big figure was, one, it's Irvine, right? And they have money. And then the second thing is, it's just, like, even the judge was saying, it's just so petty of a crime that you can't imagine two law-educated humans doing this. Like, you really have to be so evil that you're not even thinking about yourself anymore. Like, you care so much about revenge that you're not even thinking about your career or your family or your son. Like, you're just evil. Like, you're just like, whatever it takes to get revenge. And so they were like, okay, you're awarded $5.2 million. And here's the crazy thing. Kelly hasn't received a penny of it because they transferred all of their assets to their family members prior to their civil lawsuit. And so now the police are investigating that.
Really?
Because they put their house in there, they transferred it to a family member. They transferred all their assets away, and so they're trying to like not pay her.
It's
obviously,
still going on.
Yeah, the Easters ended up getting divorced.
Oh.
Yeah, but they're still like transferring the shit out of everywhere. Like, and then now I think it was one of their dads got the house in his name, and he lives in a $2 million mansion in Newport Beach, and so now he might lose his house. Because if you knowingly take someone's assets that they're trying to hide from the government, then you could get your assets taken too.
I feel like I just watched a freaking a TV show of like
people were saying if you made a movie out of this, people would be like, this isn't even believable. Can you write a better script?
Yeah.
But the fact that it actually happened. The sad part is I hope she gets her money because her husband ended up getting leukemia. Kelly's husband. So people are just like fighting for them to get their money, but what can you do? I'm sorry if I was so sassy in this video. I don't know. Something about that just rubs me in so many ways that I hate.
So where are they now? Are they out of Irvine? You don't know.
I have no idea. I'm sure they're still
probably
in
moving
Irvine.
to an apartment in Irvine.
That's it for today's story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was honestly one of the craziest stories where it started off so cute and easy, like, ooh, PTA mom, some PTA drama, and then you're like, oh, PTA mom, you know, smokes weed on the weekends, like, you think it's wild, and then suddenly it goes like this, and then there's a firefighter, and then now there's $5.2 million on the line. And it's just crazy. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite chicken tender, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!